Welcome back to Riding the Pine. This is our review of the penultimate game of the 2020-21 Chicago Blackhawks season. Tonight, the Blackhawks defeated the Dallas Stars by a score of 4-2 in game 55 of the 2020-21 season. But before we get to the review tonight, if you could do me a really big favor and hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. It helps us out with YouTube's algorithm quite a bit. Also, hit that notifications bell if you have not done so. That will allow us to come looking for you. You will never have to come looking for us. You will be sent a ping notification to your device of choice every time we upload content to the channel. And with that, we will get straight into the game tonight. Again, uh, penultimate game. Kevin Lankinen back in net. Blackhawks 4-2 winners. The rookies and Alex DeBrincat were the story tonight. MacKenzie Entwistle scored his first National Hockey League goal. So congratulations are in order, or due, I guess I should say, to MacKenzie. Mike Hardman picked up the assist on his goal. Just a flip flop of Mike Hardman's first NHL goal a couple nights ago. So that was kind of ironic and kind of a yin and yang thing going there, if you will. Um, and overall, Kevin Lankinen, 949 save percentage tonight. Awesome game from him. He is a number one goaltender. I don't know. Stop listening to all these fucking retards on Twitter that have no idea what they're talking about. You come here because we tell you the facts. I tell you the facts. The fact of the matter is, I've been telling you for 2 years, Kevin Lankinen's the future number one goalie of this team. Nobody had him as the number one goalie entering this season except for me. I told you that, and by the third game in, or fourth game, I believe it was actually, he was the number one goalie of this team. I told you all season. I got into arguments all season. Why wasn't Wyatt Kalynuk playing? Why wasn't he playing? Why wasn't he playing in Rockford if he wasn't going to be playing in the NHL? I bitched and bitched and bitched and bitched on Twitter from our personal accounts as well as from our Writing the Pine account. And I even bitched on this show with Joe routinely. Why isn't he getting playing time? And come to find out, he's their best rookie defenseman, arguably been their best defenseman other than Connor Murphy during that time. And he was great again tonight. The stats speak to that. Kalynuk was just awesome. And not just Kalynuk, but Riley Stillman as well. What a pickup Riley Stillman has been. You know, I have to tell you, I was sitting here thinking, so I'm pretty happy with Kalynuk and Stillman being in my top six defensemen. If you add Connor Murphy to that, you've got three of your six. Duncan Keith's not going anywhere, so there's four of your six. So do we need Zadorov? I mean, that's the thing, right? That's what we've been talking about all season. Do we need Zadorov? He's a good player. I like him, but I'm not really sure he's necessary. Is Adam Boquist the future of this team? I don't think so. Maybe he is, but next year is a huge year for Adam Boquist. Huge. If Adam Boquist does not prove that he's a top four defenseman next season, I think he gets moved. Ian Mitchell. Mitchell was okay tonight, but just okay. You know, we got Wyatt Kaiser is coming, and he looks to be a stud. So that's just it, folks. If Wyatt Kaiser's coming, you've got 5 out of your 6 defensemen. And honestly, you could probably take any of these defensemen that are left, whether it's, Boquist, Bodan, Mitchell, Regula. Well, not Regula, I don't think. Maybe Regula. I'll get to him in a second. Or Alex Vlasic, who's coming along. Or you can go and you can add a guy in free agency if you need to. I'm telling you, this defense is coming together. It's coming along. Don't listen to these idiots that are sitting there telling you, oh, the defense is a problem. It's a young defense. It's going to make mistakes. Both goals tonight that were against Lankinen were on the fault of the defense. On one of them, Alec Regula screwed the pooch. He went behind the net with I believe it was Mitchell who was back there with him, and he's just screwed the pooch. He was out of position. There was nobody, both defensemen are behind the goal line. That is not a recipe for success. And Alec Regula is a slow guy right now. I don't know if that's just his skating or his conditioning or some combination of the two, but it didn't work out. And the Blackhawks were scored on. The second goal that was given up, Nick Beaudin, again, out of position, was trailing the play, and then got caught coming back with trying to think of who he was on the ice with. No. The first goal was not Mitchell and Regula. It was Beaudin and Regula. And the second goal was Beaudin and Mitchell. And Mitchell was behind the net. I have no issue with how Mitchell was playing there. My issue is with Beaudin. He was out of position. And then he tried to make a good play after Kevin Lankinen made the initial stop. Instead of clearing the puck, Beaudin tried to clear the puck to the end boards, right? Instead of clearing it out of the zone, he clears it to the end boards. What happens? It gets cut off. The right to Pissick, I believe is the player's name from Dallas. A wide open net, and the puck's right in the net. It's 2-0, or not 2-0, but 3-2 at that point. That was a dead giveaway goal, right? Both goals on the defense. They were not good. Lankinen probably should have had a shutout tonight. Didn't get it. Defense made mistakes. That's going to happen with a young defense. That doesn't mean that the defense is not good or that it won't be good. I have to tell you, this tonight, I think it was a microcosm of basically the season. They have a very talented rookie core that's still developing, that's making mistakes, and they have, a couple veterans that are good. Keith, Kane, and Murphy, and that's kind of it, right? So it's going to take time for this team to develop. Don't dwell on that. Don't dwell on that. Again, Alex DeBrincat picked up his 30th and 31st goals tonight. What a season he's had. Turning into an absolute superstar. Doing all the little things right for him this season. If he continues to play like this, he's probably going to end up as a top 10 player in the National Hockey League. And for the Blackhawks, that's huge. With already having Patrick Kane and assuming Jonathan Taves comes back next season, you got a young Kirby Dach developing. You've got potentially a nice player in Lucas Reichel, who looks like he's going to be coming over. And then whoever they draft this off season, I assume it will be another forward. I hope. And, again, based off where they are in the draft, I would assume it would be a forward. So hopefully that is another key piece to the future of this roster. We're not far away, folks. I don't think we are, really. Assuming the young players develop, and I think we're on our way there. I do think we need a new coach. I think the defensive system, as I went back and I watched both the goals Dallas scored, both goals the defenders were out of position. Again, they're rookie defenders, but Colleton is supposed to be this great communicator, right? That's his job. That's what he's known to do. That's why they hired him. And he's not. Too many times this year, defenders have gotten lost, and we've seen this. We have seen this year after year, and it's getting to the point where it's kind of inexcusable. Um, frankly, uh, and here's something else that I want to bring up about Colleton. This is his third season in the NHL, second full season. Um, his first season, he coached in 67 games. Quenneville was fired uh, about 15 games into the season, and he finished 30, 28, 0, and 9. So 2 games above 500. Last season in 70 games in the shortened season, he played it was 70 games. He finished 32 and 30 and 8. Again, 2 games over 500. This season he's at 24 and 25 and 6 in 55 games. This is a 500 coach. He's taken this roster to 500 records. That's what he is. That's what he does. He's not a guy, I don't think, to get you to the promised land. I really don't think so. I think you need a new system, and I think you need a new head coach. Some news around the league tonight. Uh, John Tortorella is out in Columbus. Rick Tocchet is out in Arizona. Those are two veteran coaches now on the market. um, it'll be interesting to see if either of those two guys pick up jobs this season. They might take a job later on. Again, though, you've got, to me, there's a lot of coaches out there, I think, that you have to be interested in if you're Stan Bowman. Paul McLean, assistant, I believe, up in Toronto this season, former Jack Adams Award winner, great head coach. Nobody knows who he is, but that's fine. Um, Great mustache. We have a thing with mustaches right here in Chicago. Um, another thing or another person, Bruce Boudreau, one of the winningest coaches in the regular season, never won it all. Could that be? Could he come to Chicago to win it all? I think Chicago would be a great fit for Bruce Boudreau. I really do. Um, I think he plays a great style too for them if they can keep improving their defense. Um, Obviously now John Tortorella. You've got Rick Tocchet now, Gerard Gallant, right? These are veteran coaches that are out there. Even Mike Babcock. I know a lot of people are very sour on Mike Babcock and say that he's another choke artist, sort of like Boudreaux, but he does have a ring. And Mike Babcock has been to the Stanley Cup final 4 times. Twice with the Ducks, or excuse me, 3 times, and twice with the Red. He is a great coach for the most part, based off just pure numbers. Now, is he the right guy? Maybe not. But there's a lot of coaching talent out there that you can't tell me isn't a improvement over Jeremy Colleton. Now, I do not expect the Blackhawks to fire Jeremy Colleton this season. I don't. It's not going to happen. They're giving him a 2-year contract extension. I think it is very likely that if they fire him, it would be at the end of it has to be. Either he's going to get fired at the end of next season, or they will let his contract run out and then they'll bring somebody in after the 2023 season. The thing you have to remember here, folks, the 2022 and the 2023 drafts are loaded with elite talent. 2022 is probably deeper in terms of talent, but 2023 might have the best talent at the top, if that makes sense. So the overall elite playmakers at the top of the draft might be better in 2023, but in terms of deep draft, 2022 is deep. So again, consider everything I've talked about. Consider how Alex DeBrincat's developed, and then think about the fact that, and Brandon Hagel as well, you've got your first round pick and Lucas Reichel coming over. You're going to have another, it looks like either they're going to have either the 12th or the 11th pick this year. So almost another top 10 pick coming in within a year or so. And then if they're bad again next year, which I expect them to be in the bottom half of the league, then they're going to get another really good player in that 2022 draft, maybe two players, because I do think there's a very good possibility that Dominic Kubalik is dealt at the trade deadline next season if they are out of the playoffs. I really think that is a distinct possibility. And in terms of other moves, I think they can acquire other draft picks as well with trades of Calvin. Well, I assume DeHaan's going to be exposed in the draft. Assuming they move on from Nikita Zadorov, that's a draft pick. There's so many things they can do with draft picks. I fully expect them to be able to continue to add to their talent pool, their youth, if you will. I know Erica, a follower of ours, has been talking about this team needs to be younger next season. It will be younger. I'm confident this team will be younger next season. I do think Zadorov and DeHaan, hopefully both of them, I think will be gone. And the reason I say hopefully, now again, I like Zadorov, I do, but he's at best a third pair defenseman on a really good team. And the reality is he wants too much money. From everything we've heard, he wants too much money. They need to move on, trade him, get something that's valuable. You've got a really nice player in Stillman who you acquired from Florida. We've seen that. He's younger than Zadorov even. You've got a really, really nice piece in Wyatt Kalynuk. You've got Connor Murphy. You've still got Duncan Keith. That's 4 out of your 6 right there. And all you need, again, you've still got Boquist who needs to take a step next year. They've got Wyatt Kaiser over at UMD, only allowed one scoring chance in the infamous 5 overtime game against North Dakota, my alma mater. You've got Nick Bodan, Ian Mitchell, all of these guys that are already here. Isaac Phillips, they just signed the Jamaican kid. I think he's 19 years old in Rockford. He's somebody they're high on. They just signed Galvis from the Czech Republic. He's coming over to Rockford next season. Michael Krudel played limited minutes, 18-year-old from last year's draft. He looks like somebody they might be interested in keeping around. They've got enough people. Alex Vlasic at Boston, he's basically the next Zadorov. Alex Vlasic is 6'6". I think might be a little bit better mobile than Zadorov, which is something that's plagued Zadorov. It's something that's plagued Alec Regula in the limited time that we've seen him. That's something that if Alec Regula wants to stay in the NHL or to maintain an NHL position, he is going to have to establish himself better as a much more mobile defenseman. Now, again, I think, one of the things that they've done in prior years, bringing in a Matthias Janmark, bringing in Carl Soderberg, they can't do that again. They can't. You've already got players like Adam Gaudette. You've got Hinostroza. You've got a lot of these fringe players who need to help you determine whether they belong either on your team or in the NHL as a whole. The reality is Alex Nylander is going to be back with this team next year. unless they make a catastrophic error and don't protect him in the Seattle expansion draft, and then Seattle takes him. Alex Nylander, again, has played literally the verbatim, okay? This is not, the points are not 100% the same, and the games are off by like 1 or 2. The points are off by 1 or 2, and the games are off by 1 or 2. But Alex DeBrincat and Kirby Dach have both played about 1 full season. I believe Nylander's played 84 games. Dach has played 81. And I think Dach has 2 more points than Nylander. I believe Dach has 33 points and Nylander has 31, something along those lines. Yet everyone shits on Nylander. Nylander's awful. Nylander is blah, 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 blah. Kirby Dach is the next, but Kirby Dach's the next Jonathan Toews, but Alex Nylander is trash. Trade him. We lost the Jokiharju trade. And by the way, Jokiharju kind of looks like he might be exposed in that expansion draft. So please tell me again how Stan Bowman lost that trade. Why did Stan Bowman make that trade? Stan Bowman that's one of the best trades he's actually made because it actually made sense. He had a plethora, which we see now. Think about this. Boquist, Bourdain, Mitchell, Regula, Chris, who we haven't even seen, who's been injured routinely down in Rockford. Kalynuk now. We got Vlasic coming. You got Kaiser coming. You got Phillips, who is his first season in Rockford. You got Krudel, who you haven't even signed yet. Galvis is coming over next year. I think I just named about 10 guys that are all basically rookies. And now we've got Stillman on top of it. And you wonder why a team that is at the bottom 10 teams in the league in terms of scoring, you wonder why, when they can't average 3 goals a game, why Bowman is trading a defense when he has about 10, almost a dozen B-plus defense prospects, and he's trading one of them to add an offensive player. Not just an offensive player, but an offensive player that had enough of a pedigree that he was taken 8th overall in his draft year. Okay? Y'all need to take a step back, stop piling on Alex Nylander because you're angry about who Stan traded for him. This whole shit that goes on with the online community of Blackhawks fans, where you start overvaluing players just because they're cute or just because they're, the next big thing. They have one good season and all of a sudden they're the next big thing. That's just like Dominic Kubalik. All of these Dominic Kubalik fans. He's a one-dimensional player. He scores. And he's not even consistent at that. He doesn't play defense. He's one of the worst two-way forwards in the league. He was on the ice tonight for at least one of the goals, maybe both of them. He was on the ice for one of the goals. He finished even, and he had an assist tonight. Look, I know you guys love him because he scores, but you got to do more than that. This is the NHL. There are a lot of guys that could score in the NHL that didn't make it because they didn't do all of the other things. And with that, let's move on to Brandon Hagel. I mentioned him before. 2-point game for him. I believe he's up to 25 points on the season now. He's in a full season would be just under 50 points. If he continues to improve and he can hit that 50-point plateau, again, you're talking about adding and developing more talent. That's a perfect third-line player at 50 points. The 40 to 50-point player, perfect for your third line. Which if you're honest with, I'm going to say this again, if you're honest with yourself, that's what Dominic Kubalik is. He's a third line player. He's on pace again, basically just above Hagel to be about another 50-point player, which is I think he finished with 47 last year. Okay? That's what he is. He's not a top 6 forward. I know you want to dream that he is, but he isn't. He is 20. I think he's going to be 27 next year. I think he was 26 this year, maybe 28. Let's see. Does this tell me how old he is? Let me see here. Yes, he'll be 26 next year. He's 25 right now. Look, he's a very streaky player. And, if he can continue to play like he's playing on your third line, you're going to be all the more better for it. But is he worth $6.5, $7 million? No. No, he's not. Because when he starts to decline, and he will eventually, it's going to be steep. It's not going to be like Taves. It's not going to be like Kane. He doesn't have their type of skill set. He's a one-dimensional player. So, I think a big thing coming up here, Alex, we know if Taves is coming back, he's going to be in the top 6, right? Kane's going to be in the top 6. DeBrincat's going to be in the top 6. That's 3 of our top 6. I assume Kirby Doc's going to be there. That's 4. So now we got to decide who our other top 6 are going to be. Is it going to be Alex Nylander? Well, we got to find out. Is it going to be Lucas Reichel? Well, we got to find out. We got to bring him over and we got to play him. It's not going to be Kurashev. Look, Kurashev, I think, can be a nice player, but he's not a top 6 player. And again, I really like Brandon Hagel, but he's not a top 6 player. He can play in your top 6 when you have an injury, but if you're at the top of your game, Hagel's a third-line player. Same with Suter. At the top of your game, I think Suter's a third-line player. Hardman, same thing. Third, fourth-line player. So again, we've got our 3 in the top 6 in Kane, DeBrincat, and Taves. Assuming Doc is 4, we got 2 spots. Is it Alex Nylander? Is it Lucas Reichel? Is it a Fabian Lysell, who we might sign or draft this year? Is it a Cole Sillinger? That's another name to look at. Is it somebody we draft in 2022? And this is my point, folks. We're not far away. You have to understand it looks dire, but we're not that far away. We have a lot of the pieces are here. I just, like I said, you've got basically 4 of your top 6 on defense, and you got 4 of your top 6 forwards. You got to figure out who is going to be your last 2 defenders, and who in your top 6, and who is going to be your next 2 top 6 forwards. And you've got a lot of talent. Nylander, Reichel, whoever you draft this year. Kayamov over in the KHL. I think he's got 2 years left on his deal. He's somebody that could fit that role as well. He's, I believe, 22 years old. He'll be about Panarin's age when that contract comes up. I expect them, I believe he put up about 30 points over there this season. I expect him to come over once that deal is up. Again, 2 years away. That's why I keep saying I thought we were about 2 years away this season from competing. I still believe that. I think after this upcoming season, with more development, somebody in that defensive core of prospects has to step up. We've got Stillman, we've got Murphy, we've got Keith, and we've got Kalynuk. Now we need Boquist to prove that he's top 4. We need Bodan or Mitchell to prove they're long-term pieces. Or we need to bring Kaiser and Vlasic over, and they can be that last piece. Or 2 of the last pieces. You got the players there. That's why, to me, if I'm Bowman in this draft, I'm focusing on the forwards. The next 2 drafts, I'm focusing on forwards. I'm focused on getting my top 6. You got enough. They do. They have their bottom 6. They've got, 4 out of their 6 defensemen. They've got their number 1 goalie. They got another good goalie they drafted last year in Camesso in the second round. He's probably a couple years away still, but they've got him coming. The talent is there. They're only a few pieces away. They've just got to develop these next few pieces. And that's the thing. Let's say you need that, Mitchell or Bodin or Boquist becomes that 5th defender, and then, or Kaiser. Let's say Kaiser comes in as that 5th defender. You need that last defender. Well, guess what? Keith's contract is coming up in a couple years. I do expect Keith to come back, but he's not going to be making $6 million a year. DeHaan's money, $4.5 million, comes off. You're going to have a bunch of money coming off the books. Zach Smith, 3.5. Yeah, again, I've said this, I think, the last 3 nights. Remember Zach Smith? He's still on the team. His $3.5 million drops off at the end of this year. After tomorrow, Zach Smith will no longer be a Blackhawk. And then you've got Brandon Saad's $1 million in retained salary from this season. That comes off. That's already $4.5 million right there. That's already at least half of what you need to go out and sign a number 1 defenseman in free agency right there. Then you've got, after next season, Andrew Shaw comes off the books. That's another $3.5 million. You're going to have money to go ahead and add those 1 or 2 final pieces. If you can get one of your defensemen to pan out of your crop, out of those guys that we've already mentioned, and then you can get another of your forwards to pan out, you're there. You only need to add 1 or 2 pieces, and you're there. So again, think positively. To me, this is fun. This is much better. I'm having much more fun watching the kids play and develop than I am watching a bunch of old vets who just can't hack it anymore, like we were 2 to 3 years ago. That was awful because you knew they just didn't have it. Everybody but them knew it, right? Now I want to talk about, again, this kind of goalie controversy, even though there really isn't one. I said at the start of this show, you need to stop listening to these beat reporters. And not just the beat reporters, but these bloggers. Barstool Chief is an idiot. He's an idiot. Like, I don't know how old he is, but I know he's not like 50 years old. He's, I think, somewhere in his 30s, maybe late 30s, mid to late 30s. He's my age, a little bit older than me, probably. And I saw him on Twitter tonight. Somebody said Stan Mikita is the greatest Blackhawk of all time. And Barstool Chief comes out and goes, "Oh, well, that's a weird hill for you to sit and say you're going to die on when you never even saw Stan Mikita play." Excuse me, he whose shit doesn't stink. But Stan Mikita retired in the spring of 1980. I'm pretty sure you didn't watch him either. Because for you to even have cognitive memory of that, you would have had to have been born in, like, I don't know, 73, 74, probably maybe even older than that. Because at 72, I mean, you guys, you're listening to me. When are your earliest memories, right? Like, that you really remember players. For me, it's like at age 7 and 8. And even then it's fuzzy. Like, I remember the players that I saw that I liked. Whether they were good or not, I like them. I remember that, okay, at like 7 or 8. But at like 5, so that's 19, you'd be at 1975, right? Or 1974, somewhere in there that season, for you to be 5 when he retired. So again, for you to have any recollection of Stan Mikita playing, you would have to have been born in the early 70s. Probably 72, I would say, is like the earliest I would accept that you can remember him playing. And that's at the tail end of his career. So for you to get online and start like trying to do a brouhaha moment with somebody else because they're young, it's the guy that he was, trying to take a crap on, is a college student. I think a sophomore. He said I looked at the guy's profile. He said he was class of 2024. So he's like 20 years old. So he's, I don't know, 15, 16 years younger than Chief Ryan, I believe is his name. Like, get over yourself, man. Like, whoa, that's a weird flex for a guy that never saw Stan Mikita play. Well, it's a weird flex for you to say he's wrong when you never saw Stan Mikita play, you fucking jackass. That's like somebody today trying to educate me on how LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. Some kid today that was born at like, I don't know, 2000, 2001, that never saw Michael play, that the only superstar they've known in basketball is LeBron. And then this, LeBron's the great. No. No. Michael Jordan would wipe the fucking floor with LeBron, and it wouldn't be pretty. Like, it wouldn't be pretty. That's why everybody who saw Michael play knows Michael is the greatest to ever play. The only people that are sitting here defending LeBron are either people in the media that have an agenda because, they're trying to make money, or it's these kids, right, who have never seen Jordan play. They've never seen Jabbar play. They never seen any of the greats play other than LeBron. I digress. My point being, back to the Colin Delia, Kevin Lankinen controversy. Stop listening to these people. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Mark Lazarus gets on Twitter and starts waxing poetically about how nobody takes hockey seriously because it's physical and there's fighting in the sport. That guy has no fucking clue what he's talking about. You know how I got into hockey? By going to minor league hockey games, beer league games. The league the Rockford Ice Hogs started in, the beer league. Yes, the Rockford Ice Hogs were in a beer league called the United Hockey League at one time. In fact, we called it, for slang, the U-Haul because it was such a joke of a league. That league was built on fighting. The Rockford Ice Hogs won the Colonial Cup their last year in that league. They beat the Kalamazoo K-Wings, who are now in the ECHL. But he doesn't know that. Do you think this idiot knows what the United Hockey League is? No. He has no clue what he's talking about. He's maybe he's been to one or two like minor league hockey games in his life. Other than that, he hasn't. Look, the dude is a basketball guy. He used to cover Valpo Athletics, which is, trust me, having gone to school there, grad school there, and was actively trying to get hockey. This is when the Blackhawks dynasty was in full force. And every other major university in the state of Indiana had a hockey team. And I'm trying to get a hockey team at Valpo. It's an NCAA school. We're trying to just get an ACHA team there. Okay. Not NCAA, just an ACHA team there. They cut it off. The athletic director cut it off because they knew it was a threat to their basketball program. I know that for a fact. And the reality is, it was. And you ask anybody that has ever went to school there, at least within the last decade, every penny of that school goes into basketball. Look at what Lazarus covered when he was at Northwestern, another school that I went to. We have that in common. Me and Lazarus, I hate the guy. I think the guy is scum of the earth for the divisive shit that he posts on Twitter and his attacking of fans, including those with learning disabilities on Twitter, at least mocking them on Twitter, screenshotting private emails that were his fans. Maybe he hasn't done this in a while because I assume the Athletic told him to cut the shit because he hasn't done it since he's left the Sun-Times. But when he first came over, he would get emails when he was at the Sun-Times, and he'd post them and screenshot them, wipe out the name of whoever it was and the email address, but he quote the email screenshot, and it was littered with, I don't know if it was spelling errors. Again, it could have been a kid. It could have been someone with a learning disorder. Could have been just somebody who went to a bad school and wasn't taught how to read and write properly. I don't know. But it's a fan, nonetheless. Someone that took the time to write to him, okay? Because they value what he does and his work. And then he has the audacity to take that private email and throw it up on Twitter and make fun of them. That's what he did. That's what he's done numerous times. Again, hasn't done it in quite a while. I'll give him credit to that. But I think that's more because other people like me called him out for that, and I don't think the Athletic would put up with that. As far left liberal as they are, I don't think they'd put up with that. I don't. I'm surprised they put up with his crap on Twitter. But that aside, when he was at Northwestern as a kid, he covered basketball and football. He's a huge Mets fan. He has no idea about hockey. He got the hockey job basically because he had covered these other, sports, and they needed somebody that could come in and take the job. Most writers have no background in hockey whatsoever. Stop listening to these people. They don't know what they're talking about. The only person that should have any credibility out of these beat reporters is Scott Powers. Scott Powers has legitimate sources. He used to work for ESPN, and honestly, I don't agree, and me and Scott have had our differences online, and that's cool. I'd love to talk to Scott and try to iron shit out between the two of us because I know he doesn't really interact with me anymore, but he helped me out a lot with starting this show. And God bless him. I believe he's a really good guy, and he knows what he's talking about for the most part. He has actual sources, and if you hear it from him, bank on it. Maybe not bank on it, but give it a lot of credibility. But everybody else, They have no idea what they're talking about, the vast majority of them. And again, on these blogs, one of the most popular podcasts out there literally stole and ripped our logo off. Our old logo. Literally. They came in a year after we did, and I'm sorry I'm getting off topic here a little bit and going on a rant, but I'm just trying to explain to you guys why you shouldn't take these people seriously. They literally ripped off our logo. That's literally copyright infringement. And they're one of the biggest Blackhawks podcasts out there. And if you don't believe me, like, I can show you our logo. We still got old merch up. We haven't taken it down yet because with this, I don't know if I'm going to keep that store for this or if I'll move to another store. But before, we start selling merch and doing all that stuff, I want to build our audience up a little bit more before I, do stuff like that. But again, don't read anything into this. Anyway, back to the Colin. There is no goalie controversy. The only reason there is a goalie controversy is because the beat writers are creating one. Okay. Controversy sells. That's what they're doing. Kevin Lankinen is the number one goalie for the Blackhawks. There is no doubt about it. If you have watched this season, all these reporters want to talk about how Kevin Lankinen deserved to play. Where? Give me the proof. Malcolm Subban outplayed him. Kevin Lankinen outplayed him. When they sent Delia down to Rockford for a conditioning stint, they gave him a chance. He was playing in Rockford against weaker competition. They sent him down there, gave him the opportunity to play and show what he could do. What did he do? He shit the bed. He was given up on average 5 goals a game in Rockford. In Rockford. And not just one game, not just 2 games, not just 3 games. This was more than just the limited sum of games that he played in Rockford, and he shit the bed. And he shit the bed in the NHL. And we'd seen him before, right? He played in the NHL 2 years ago. We've seen this guy. Malcolm Subban had 2 shutouts this year. Had one of the best years of his career, arguably. Kevin Lankinen took the net. Don't give me this bullshit that Colin Delia deserved to play. He didn't. He was outplayed. And I'm not a Malcolm Subban fan. I'm not. But the reality is he outplayed, or Subban and Lankinen outplayed Delia. They did. So there is no controversy. And if you saw the post game tonight, so even before the post game, in the first period, Scott Powers tweets out, the Blackhawks fans are cheering on every save Kevin Lankinen makes. Yes, because the fans love him. They love him. He's becoming a fan favorite. He's been a fan favorite all year. I can't stand it, but they call him Lanky. They call him Lank the Tank. Personally, I like Finnish Magician or something along those lines a little bit better, but that's what they've been doing. They've been giving him these, names and all of these things. And then what's Lankinen done? After every first start he has at the United Center, he comes out, he waves to the cameras. None of the other players did that, at least not to my recollection, not like he did. And then tonight, after the 940, I think it was a 949 save percentage he had tonight, both goals that were scored on him were not his fault. What happened? He was so excited, and you could see the happiness coming out of him with his smile, and he loves the fans, and the fans love him, and you can see it, right? And that confidence that he has, and the poise and the confidence that he has, you can see it, it's oozing out of him, right? And the fans feed off it. He feeds off the fans. You can see him feeding off the fans. And then, oh, well, Delia. No. Look, Malcolm Subban's not playing. We have one game left. One. You have to now. I know I've talked down about Delia, but I'm going to talk him back up now. He came back in and he proved that he might be able to be a good backup in this league. So going into next season, we can have a backup competition between Delia and Subban. But it's still Lankinen's net. Lankinen's the number one guy. So again, what do you get? Like, what do you get by playing Colin Delia tomorrow night? What do you get out of it? I'm going to tell you what you get out of it. Nothing. Because it's not going to change the competition between Delia and Subban next year at all. It's not going to change anything. You're not protecting one of those two over Lankinen. You're protecting Lankinen. Obviously, Lankinen's the guy. So, after what I just said, Lankinen had an awesome performance tonight. You saw the love, all of that. It was a special moment. Like, legitimately was a special moment tonight when they interviewed him with fans back in the building. Play him in the final game in front of fans. It's the final game. Let me ask you something. Do you think if Corey Crawford was still here that he would not be playing tomorrow? I guarantee you Crawford starts tomorrow. This goes back to my point about poor management. Now, everybody's waxed poetically about how great of a communicator is Jeremy Colleton is and how great he did this season. He does deserve some credit, sure. But the reality is they didn't play Kalynuk soon enough. Kalynuk didn't start playing until March. That was a mistake. We lost the belt. And then not just playing in the NHL. He didn't start playing until the end of February, I think, in Rockford. He sat for almost a whole month. It was, I think, the middle of February when Kalynuk finally started to play in Rockford. Finally. So, mismanagement there. And now we're not managing our goaltending properly. I think we went 2 weeks with David Kampf in the top 6. And not just 2 weeks, but I don't know, like the 2 most important weeks of the season. When the playoffs were on the line, we had David Kampf in the top 6. Like, excuse me? And then, again, I got nothing against David Kampf. He's a great bottom 6 defensive player. But he ain't no top 6 forward on anybody's team. Even the worst team in the league, he's not a top 6 player. I'm sorry, but he isn't. So why was he playing there? And Kirby Dach was already back. So that's not an argument either. Jeremy Colleton has done a lot of mismanagement with this roster, and you can see it again. Piss poor management decisions. And not just that, but ice time management. We talked about it all year. Ice time management with the defense. Duncan Keith should not be playing 25 minutes a game. You should have more than Duncan Keith and Connor Murphy playing on the PK. Why isn't Kalynuk out there? Why isn't Mitchell out there? Why isn't Beaudin out on the PK? Why aren't these kids out there on the PK? When DeHaan was playing, DeHaan would take the minutes on the PK. DeHaan is not a future of this team. This is supposed to be a rebuilding year. This is what I'm saying. They sit here and they talk the good game. Oh, we had the most rookies play this year. We're the youngest team in the league. We had all these first goals, blah, 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 blah. But no, you didn't play them in the situations that mattered. You were sheltering them. Why? This season doesn't matter. You knew it doesn't matter. They have to learn. They're only going to learn if you play them in those situations. Again, just like our follower and fan, I think, Erica said, next season, they better be younger. For the betterment of this team, they better be younger. That's why I'm saying get rid of DeHaan, get rid of Zadorov, play all your rookies on defense, figure out who can stay, who needs to go, because eventually you're going to have to get rid of some of these guys, and you need to know which ones are good and which ones are bad. We can't have another Philip Deneau disaster. We can't have another Teuvo Teravainen, right? We don't want to give away good players. We have to develop them and see who is good. We can't just randomly start trading players because, oh, well, we think this guy's better than this guy. No. You need to play them to figure that out. And if they're not playing, well, you can't figure that out. Same goes with the forwards. We don't need to sign another Janmark. We don't need to sign another Carl Soderberg. Henrik Borgstrom's coming over. We haven't even mentioned him yet. That's a potential top 6 piece. I expect him to play in the top 6, actually. I think he'll bump, at least to start the season. I think he bumps Doc to the third line. I think your top 3 centers in order will be Taves, Borgstrom, and then Doc. And I like Doc on that third line. I do. I really do. I like him there. With Hagel and Doc and Hinostroza. I like that line. Then you could have like Borgstrom and in between Kane and DeBrincat. And then Taves between Kubalik and Nylander, or Taves between Kubalik and Reichel, or whatever. There's a lot of things you can do there. Anyway, I know I kind of went on some tangents and some rants. Again, I appreciate you guys listening this season. I'll be sure to tag Erica as well, since I kind of used what she said on Twitter as a little bit of a jumping off point for some of the discussion tonight. Again, I don't know where Joe is. I haven't heard from him. I assume he'll be here tomorrow for the last game, but who knows? He might not be. He's kind of been hit and miss lately. Yeah. Again, like I said, I'm glad fans were in the building tonight. You could tell everybody was having a good time. I want to, again, thank everybody for listening. This has been the penultimate review, the penultimate game. And I guess I'll just sign off by saying I will see you guys tomorrow. Well, I guess Tuesday morning, because this will be up Tuesday morning, or our review of the final game of the season will be up Tuesday morning. I want to make some other notes too, also, before I sign off here. I will be doing a draft review in the off season. I will probably be doing a free agency review if there's anything to talk about. And then maybe some other kind of one-off episodes. Be a little sporadic. We were going to do that this year with Splinters, but we just never got around to doing it. And again, we're still building here, and it will be, our one-offs will be called Splinters. That will remain the same. But again, we'll be doing that. Also, I will be doing personally, I just want to make you all aware, because I know some people on YouTube get a little excited when there's other content that's uploaded that is not, specifically what they're subscribed for. So I'm just forewarning you right now, very soon, uh, within the next week, couple weeks, there will be movie reviews being uploaded, physical media movie reviews being uploaded. There will be hot toy reviews being uploaded. For those of you that don't know what hot toys are, they're collectible figures, sort of like GI Joes, but like very, very expensive GI Joes, like minimum $250. So I will be reviewing those. Most of it has to do with stuff like Star Wars, Marvel, DC, um, and then some statues as well to go with those hot toys that are also like I've got eventually coming in. I'm going to have the Odd Couple statues. I've got the statues of the cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those will be coming in, and those will be video too. So you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. We're still working on the video and how we're going to set that up for this show and Riding the Pine and Splinters. So for our Blackhawks content. But this channel, as a rule, is going to be diverse. It's not going to just be Blackhawks content. You need to know that. It's going to be kind of an entertainment sports channel. We're going to have, like I said, the movie reviews, the collectible hot toys reviews type stuff, and then we're going to have the Blackhawks. This is my channel. I started it. These are things that I like and love, and this is what I want to build the channel into. I'm sorry if you don't like that. It is what it is. But please, if you're interested in any of this stuff, whether it be the Blackhawks, whether it be movies, whether it be hot toys, collectibles, whatever it is, and you want to jump in and contribute here, let me know. Again, uh, I actually prefer to not be talking to myself like I am right now. That's why I brought Joe on, and we just started talking, and he started coming on. And for the most part, other than his vacation, and then here recently, he's been on every night. And you know, again, uh, this is a place that we're building here that's not supposed to be divisive. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're socialist. I don't care what you are. I know on social media now, everybody's got their, everyone's an ist or a phobe or all of this stuff. We don't want that here. Everybody's welcome here. This is supposed to be an old school community of people that have a love of stuff. That's what we're building here. Love of the Blackhawks, love of movies, love of collecting things, that type of stuff. That's what we're bringing in here. So again, just be on the lookout. I don't want anybody to get all upset because, now that the Blackhawks season is over and we're going to start adding some other content that isn't Blackhawks related, there will still be Blackhawks content coming. There will be. But because the season's over and I want to build the other aspects of this channel, there's going to be a lot more of the other stuff. And then as we get into next season, we'll be doing the exact same thing we did this year. We'll have a game review of every game, and I'm hoping we will have a weekly show that we will put out at some date, every week, where we'll kind of do like a weekend review type show for the Blackhawks. All of that's coming. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on. So again, this is the first year that we've done this for the Blackhawks. I thank everybody for listening. It's been trying at times. I upgraded my microphone and all of our equipment here to improve the quality of this. Put a pretty substantial amount of money into it, actually. So we're going to continue to do that, continue to build. And it means a lot if you've stuck with us and are continuing to help us grow. Obviously, it's a struggle the first year, sometimes couple years, getting these channels off the ground. So again, appreciate it. Thanks for listening. And we will see you tomorrow night for the final game of the 2020-21 Chicago Blackhawks season. Again, Blackhawks final score tonight beat the Dallas Stars by a score of 4-2. Alex DeBrincat scores his 30th and 31st goals of the season. Hagel scores, I believe, his 9th, and MacKenzie Entwistle scores his very first goal of his young National Hockey League career. And with that, good night, everybody, or good morning, I guess, since this will be uploaded in the morning. And we'll see you for the last review of the 2020-21 Chicago Blackhawks season. Until then, let's go Hawks.